Today, I'm going to talk about how you need to eliminate self doubt because if we don't talk about eliminating self doubt, we'll never be able to grow and succeed in this life of ours. Even if we want to lead a life of well being, which is based on wellness factor, we need to eliminate that self doubt of ours because if we don't do that, what's going to happen is that we are going to self sabotage our life. And when we start self sabotaging our life, we start feeling depressed, we start feeling angry at not just ourselves but at the entire world around us, and we feel like we cannot lead this life of ours from a point of well-being. There are a lot of opportunities in this life of ours. Most times we blame the world for those opportunities that never materialized for us. We blame ourselves for those opportunities that we never took, or we blame our environment or our circumstances. But what is happening here is that we are most times self sabotaging those opportunities that are coming our way, and we're doing that because we have a lot of fear. And this fear is popping up because we have a lot of self doubt. And today we are going to address this area of our life where we keep on doubting ourselves. If we don't believe in ourselves, we'll never be able to lead a better life. You will see that people who have the most amount of resources are the people with the most amount of self doubt. They might have a lot of money, they might have a lot of great networking opportunities in their life, they might be surrounded with people who are really, really doing well. But what is showcasing in their own life is that although they have all the resources, they are unable to use those resources for their own betterment. They have a lot of self doubt. They create these clouds of overthinking, and they have a very rigid pattern of thought. They have a belief system that although everything is being given to them, they still lack something, and they place that lack in themselves. They are not able to perceive the beautiful opportunities that are present in their life. They are still present, they are not going anywhere. They are present because they are surrounded with really amazing people. They are having money in their bank, and yet they are unable to utilize these resources for their own betterment and for the betterment of others. And you will find that some people who don't have anything and just have the fire in their belly are able to come up in life. They are able to do better in life, and that is because they don't have the luxury to create any sort of self doubt. They are lacking money, they are lacking opportunities, they are lacking any support system. So now they know that either it is going to be that the world is not fair, or is it going to be that I need to keep on working hard, I need to keep on hustling. And you will find that these kind of people who keep on hustling and don't pay attention to their mind, they are able to do better in life. They are able to overcome their circumstances because they have created this whole idea that it's do or die. But if you are somebody who's born into luxury, and luxury is even middle class because you have enough money to support or at least start your dream life, but there are people who cannot afford even three square meals in their life, and you will find that these are the people who are hustling the most, and they are trying to make their life far better than where they are right now. But if you are born into a very privileged life, you will find that you have a lot of resources at your disposal, and yet you are just cribbing. You're sitting in your comfy homes, you're having three square meals, you have enough money in the bank to create that dream life of yours. And yet you are failing miserably in this life of yours because you have created a lot of self doubt, because you don't want to come out of your comfort zone. You are sitting in these comfortable cushy homes of yours, and you have enough support system, and yet you are unable to lead a good life. You're unable to create risks in your life. You find yourself fearing everything in this life of yours, and that's happening because you have created these self doubts in your mind, and they are created because you have enough time. You have the luxury of time because you have the luxury of money in your life. You start creating self doubt, you will find that you are no longer focusing on your own growth, you are no longer making the right decisions in your life, you are just whiling away your time, you are blaming everyone, you are spending a lot of time cribbing about what is not present in your life. But some people in this life don't have the luxury to sit and crib. They don't have the luxury because they are unable to afford even 3 square meals in their life, and because of that they are paying so much attention to their growth process, and their decision making is very, very clear. They know that they have to make the right decisions at the right time, they have to grab every opportunity coming to them. But you, on the other hand, I'm addressing this to people who have enough money to eat 3 square meals and are able to wear luxury clothes. I'm talking about people who can afford H&M, Zara, all of these brands. They're not pretty expensive, and a middle class person can afford them. So you're spending a lot of time trying to build this whole idea that I cannot do this, I cannot do that. So you will find that the list of things that you cannot do is increasing day by day, whereas the list of things that you can do is decreasing. You have seen in history that there are a lot of individuals who have done really well for themselves. They are self made. You don't have to look at big names to find these people in your life. You will find some person in your colony who came up from really a rag to riches story, or you will find somebody in your own village, or let's say in your own relation, who just worked very, very hard to reach that status that they are in right now. And if you ask them, they just will tell you that they had a lot of focus on their own strengths. So they utilize their strengths rather than trying to uh, look at their weaknesses. And this is where you need to understand that you have been focusing in the wrong direction. So how do we eliminate self-doubt from our life? We need to understand that as children we took on a lot of trauma in our life, and I'm not talking about big trauma like inefficiency and self-doubt creeped into our minds because somebody told us, that you're not good enough, you don't deserve this, you're not worthy of this. Especially parents, don't pay attention to the way in which they are dressing their children. So if let's say you're saying to a child that I gave you this much money and you wasted this money, you broke that toy, money doesn't grow on trees, you have to work really hard and you don't deserve good things. So now the child is growing up thinking that I don't deserve good things, and I'm not worthy of money. I cannot earn money. Money is very, very difficult for me to, you know, create in my life. I am not that intelligent, especially for children who don't do well in studies. Their parents will come and tell them, "You are a big failure. You failed in maths exam. You will never do well in life." But they are not understanding that the child might really be very, very good at creative writing and they can make a career out of creative writing. They can become great writers, but our society is just focusing on creating these singular lined individuals, I call them. They are like creating individuals that are coming out of factories. You don't manufacture human beings, you create human beings. And the idea of creating human beings is that every creation is going to be very, very different. You go to a potter and you find that every pot that he's making, although it has the same clay, but has a different shape and a different value and a different outlook. So, what is happening in this world that we are creating this whole idea in our children? And if you're a grown up listening to this, you know that you have created a lot of these ideas of you that you picked up from your parents, from your relatives, from your siblings. Now, these ideas of you are not true to who you are, but you have been trying to decipher this life or perceive this life based on the idea that was implanted on you by somebody else. Now, this whole idea that has been implanted in you needs to be removed. And the easiest way to do that is to sit down and write down all these self doubts that you have about yourself. Because until unless you do that, until unless you pay attention to those areas of your life which are creating a lot of self doubt, you will never be able to come out creating a better version of you. You create some sort of uh, habit of self sabotaging your life. You do that as a child, you tell yourself, today I didn't get great marks, so my parents are very angry at me. They're telling me that I'm not really good enough. So you start paying less and less attention to your passions. You start paying attention to your regular subjects, but you had a passion for creating things out of nothing, but you stop paying attention to that. And as you start growing up, you start focusing more and more on the perceived idea that the society wants you to be. So you start creating these whole innate ideas of who you are, and these ideas or versions of you have been created by everybody around you except you. So what is happening is, because you are now basing your life on a version that has been created by somebody else, you are having a lot of self doubt. And because you are having this self doubt, you're finding yourself at the crossroads of this life. You are miserable in this life of yours. You lack clarity because you are looking at yourself from someone else's perspective. You are trying to follow this herd mentality. You base your looks, you base your career, you base your marriage, you base everything of yours out of what the world is doing, how your relatives are doing, how your peers are doing, how it's been shown on social media. So you're following a trend, and this trend might not work for you. It will follow this whole innate idea that I must follow what the society is asking me to be. I need to be this version that the society wants me to be, but I cannot be this version of who I want to be. Once you start correcting this process, once you start becoming the entire version of who you are, you will find that your life is becoming better and you are doing better in this life of yours. I'm so sorry, you'll have to excuse me for a little bit of hammering noises that you'll hear here and there. I cannot move them in the audio correction also, because a lot of work is happening around my house, because it's festive season, it's Diwali season, so a lot of work is going on. And you'll have to excuse for a little bit of noise disturbance that's coming in the audio. Now, we need to understand that we are always operating from an unconscious state of mind. And this unconscious state of mind that we're in, we have, according to unconscious state of mind, limiting beliefs, we have a pattern of thinking, and we have a limiting free will. Now, what happens is that in limiting beliefs, we get these beliefs from our external environment, and this usually happens till the age of 7, because till the age of 7 a child is going through a theta brainwave stage. So that is when they are observing the environment and learning from it. And usually in that phase, what happens is that parents tell the children that, you are not deserving of the money that we gave you. We wasted the money, you broke your shoes, we wasted so much money on you, you've broken the toy, we wasted so much money on you, or you don't get good marks, and you're not doing well in school, so you're not a great student, you're not good at studies. And so we start imprinting what our parents are telling us into our mind. And sometimes that imprint gets on from of relatives, and those relatives are giving a feedback to the child which is not positive. The child will now start imprinting that feedback, and as an adult, you will still hover on to those ideas of you that were instilled by others. So, this is where you need to understand that your limiting beliefs are coming in from your childhood. As humans, we have this great asset, that is, we can reprogram our minds, but we don't utilize that asset. We don't understand this superpower that we have, that we can reprogram our minds. We just uh, continue thinking the same way, and we can change our thinking. We can overcome those limiting beliefs if we start paying attention to those limiting beliefs of ours. If we have no idea what our limiting beliefs are, how can we change them? So the first idea is for you to start paying attention to those limiting beliefs of yours. Once you start paying attention to those limiting beliefs of yours, what is going to happen is you are going to now create new belief system in your life. You are going to tell yourself that these beliefs do not work for me anymore. I need to change my belief system. I need to start creating better versions of myself, and to create better versions I need to create a better script in my mind, because till now the script that was running in my mind was not working out for me, and that is where the change is going to come into your life. Now let's come on to this pattern of thinking. What's happening is that we have a continuous pattern that keeps on continuing in our life. We think the same thoughts that we thought as a 12-year-old, and now we are in our 40s and we are still thinking those same thoughts because of our limiting belief system. We have created this whole version of thoughts that keep on just going on in a loop. To now stop that loop, and how can you stop that loop, that same thinking process, is by changing your mindset. And that mindset can only get changed if you change your external environment, because what's happening is that you've been living in that same external environment. You have been surrounding yourself with the same toxic people. You have been doing the same habits. You've been partaking in the same activities for years, and it's happening to you for years now. For decades you have been uh, living your life in a pattern, and that pattern is not working out for you, obviously, because if it was, you would not be here listening on to my vlog. So now you know that you have a pattern of thinking. Now the best way to clear that pattern of thinking is to observe your thought process. Whenever you're thinking, be always aware of that thought process that's coming into your mind, because everything comes from here. Your mind is the computer, and you're coding in a wrong code. I keep repeating the same thing, that if you do not change the code, you cannot change the outcome that's happening in your life. So you have to code in a different code, and that code has to be a new pattern of thinking. So let's say I have a pattern of thinking where I fear, uh, you know let's say I have a fear of trying on new things. I fear that if I try new things in my life, I will not do so well in them, because I've been taught since childhood. I have a limiting belief that I fail in anything new that I do in my life. So now we are going to change that pattern of thinking by changing our limiting beliefs. I'm going to say to myself that, you know what, I'm going to give myself at least 10 chances. Why give yourself one? Because, you know, uh, if I give myself only one chance, probability is that I'm going to fail, because I still have to work through my limiting beliefs. So I'm going to give myself 10 chances to fail. And what's going to happen is, because you will keep on repeating those mistakes, you will not give up, you will now learn from those mistakes of yours. So let's say you keep doing it 10 times. By the 11th time, you would have mastered that thing, and you would have found where you were going wrong, because you didn't give up. And that is how you will introduce a new pattern of thinking, and you will say to yourself, because that limiting belief no longer was now valid, what you're going to say to yourself is, oh, I now can do something new in my life. I can take on new things in my life, because look, here I am. I might have failed 10 times, but on the 11th time I was really doing well. And that is how you start changing your limiting beliefs. And because you're able to change your limiting beliefs, you're able to change your pattern of thinking. And what is limiting free will? Now, as a society, we are living in a herd mentality. The whole idea of the version of us that we are getting from our parents, from our siblings, from our spouses, from these external relatives of ours, uncle, aunts, and our cousins, is the social media. Appears and what's happening on the social media front. Now, social media is amazing, but we don't understand how we are to consume this social media. We are just consuming it without really paying attention to it. There is a whole picture that's being shown to us. That picture is not real, and because now people are basing their lives on social media, and so you get this entire pressure to be that version that you don't want to be from your peers, from your family members, because they are also looking at social media and they're also trying to dress up in a certain way, look a certain way, and their houses should also look the certain way. So there's a whole trend, and if you are not part of that trend, you are nobody. Idea to be somebody is now being based on these fake ideas. Okay, so nothing is real on the social media. It's very, very fake, and yet we want to base our lives on that fake idea of that they are selling to us, and that is what's happening to every one of us. Till I say the age of my grandparents, when they were young, or when they were in their 60s, also they had a lot of free will. They dressed up according to the way they wanted to. They didn't pay attention to so many ideas of how they have to behave. Quite well aware that I have to eat this way, I have to look this way for my own well-being. Like my grandmother was very focused on that. But let's come on to the next generation, and then our generation, millennials, and then the Gen Z. Now the whole idea that you have to dress up a certain way, you have to look a certain way, you have to eat a certain way, you have to eat certain food items to be cool, um, you have to consume certain food items to look cool. So this whole idea that you have a free will is no longer applicable to us, because we are living in a world where there is a very, very limiting free will. So if you don't want to color your hair, you can't do that. If you don't want to wear a certain uh, clothes, you can't do that. You have to be like everybody else. If you don't want to have your home looking all white, you can't do that, because everybody wants to follow this fake trend that's happening. So there are these social media accounts that are completely fake, and now we are basing our real lives on these fake accounts, on these fake pictures. We are trying to identify with this whole fake world, and because that identity is not matching on to a real self image, what's happening is we are getting a lot of confusion and a lot of self doubt. So if you want to improve your self, if you want to overcome this whole self doubt in your mind, what you need to do is you need to stop listening on to what others are saying to you. Stop taking in lot of negative feedback, because if you keep on taking that external pressure, if you keep on improving your image to fit in this box, what's going to happen is you are going to feel miserable for the rest of your life, because you have given your free will willingly. So if you want to have a little bit of free will, do what you want to do what makes you feel better. Don't come under the pressure of the society to be a certain way, to look a certain way, to behave a certain way, to follow a certain path, a career path that might not be suitable for you. So you have to overcome that idea that if I follow others, I'm going to feel good. No, you will end up feeling miserable, because there is a whole creation that has created you. You have a far larger purpose in this life than to follow others. If you want to follow others, what's going to happen is you're going to feel miserable. You will never have clarity in your life, and you'll always be surrounding yourself with a lot of self doubt. So if you want to overcome that self doubt of yours, you have to start practicing a little bit of free will. Do what you want to do to make your life better. Don't wait to do it later on in life. I'm going to do it when I reach the certain age, then I'm going to do it. No, do it today, do it now, and see what freedom you will feel. Even if you just stop doing one thing according to what the society wants you to do, you will feel so much of ease and relief in your life. Society is now pressurizing a lot of individuals into becoming streamlined, and no human being can be streamlined. That is the whole idea, where our society is becoming unconscious. So trying to do one better than the other, and trying to prove that I can follow this trend more than you. So where is the free will then? If you will keep on competing on these trends, where is the free will? So you have to get that free will on your own, because no one is going to give it to you. So you need to understand that a lot of social media is creating these versions of people, and we look at these versions of people. We see, marriages are falling apart. A lot of programs are coming in where divorce is getting glorified, where being single is getting glorified, and there is a narrative that's happening. And I have this conversation with a lot of individuals, around me, and everyone is agreeing to it, that there is a version or a narrative that is being sold, and this version or narrative might not be good for you, but you are just consuming that material, not paying attention to the material that is being fed to you. So if you're not conscious enough, if you're unconscious, what's going to happen is you're going to bring in a lot of this negative feedback into your mind, and now you're going to imagine your life based on a fake life that is being shown to you. Those are actors. Maybe their real life is not like this, but you are looking at it from a point of reality, and now you're assuming yes, it's true. So if people are having failed marriages, it's because of this, because of what they're showing on that show. That is not true. So stop taking in all these narratives. So much of narration is going on so many aspects of our life, and this is happening to disturb the society. In a way, it is happening to disturb the society, and if you are not aware of it, if you are just unconsciously taking in a lot of this matter into your subconscious mind, what's going to happen is now your subconscious mind is going to think like that. So uh, first of all, marriages fall apart because of other reasons and shown on the TV. Make sure that you become conscious of the material that you're consuming on the internet. Now internet is a great tool, but are you using it to teach yourself better skills, to improve your thinking process, or are you teaching yourself silly ideas? You have to ask yourself that question: what is it that I'm learning from the internet? Am I using it the correct way? And then you'll get your answers. Second is paying attention to the people you surround yourselves with. Now, if you're surrounding yourself with a lot of toxic people, what's going to happen is you keep on paying attention to that self doubt of yours. You'll keep paying attention to the negative feedback that you're getting from these people. And what's going to happen is that your life is going to showcase it in the decision making part. You are going to have a lot of problem with making right choices for yourself, because you are now going to pay attention to the opinion of others, and these people are very toxic. So they are never going to make sure that you succeed in life, and that is where you're giving your power and energy to them by paying attention to their feedback. So you have to pay attention to the kind of people you're surrounding yourself with. So if you love my vlog, do like, share, and subscribe, and comment down below. And thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.